Hello everyone, welcome to the Bibble IT video number 2 in the OCS 2007 R2 to Lync 2010 upgrade series. Quick recap of what we've done in part 1 is we've gone through preparing our schema, preparing our domain and installing the topology builder. So stuff we're going to do in part 2 is pick up where we left off. We're going to actually create our new Lync topology. We're going to merge our 2007 topology in so that the Lync environment knows about the OCS servers that we have in place. We're going to run through bootstrapping the server, so that's where we need to make sure we put our prereqs on the actual machine. Bootstrapping is the process of installing the core Lync components, and then we're going to actually install the components that the server needs to perform its function. So because we're not dealing with enterprise voice, it's not going to install any of the enterprise voice parts. We're going to then request and assign certificates, and we're going to configure the admin URL. So we're still not going to be up to the point where we're going to see Lync working. All that stuff's going to come in part 3, where we're going to do our user migrations and everything else. So hopefully you'll find this useful, and let me know what you think. Thank you. Once we've got Topology Builder installed, we just need to run it. So it's under Programs, Lync Server, Topology Builder. And we're going to create a new topology. I'll just give it the name of our domain. So our SIP domain is going to be the same as our DNS domain for this. Don't have any additional domains. Our first site is going to be Bibble Lync. City, UK. Going to create our first front-end pool here. This is going to be a standard edition server, and the FQDN for the server is bibble-lync.bibblenet.com. We're going to do conferencing, but we're not going to do enterprise voice or call admission because this server isn't plugged into anything else. Next, we're going to co-locate our mediation server just because we can, and we don't want archiving, monitoring, and we're not going to have Edge because we don't have anything Edge for OCS at the moment. So this is just going to be standalone with everything able to talk internally, but no internet access or voice, or enterprise voice, I should say. So SQL Store, we're just going to use all the defaults. File share, we're going to use the same standard edition server. Let's change that, so we're calling it Lync Share. Web services, we're just going to have the name of the server again. We don't have any PSTN gateways, so we're going to finish that and publish the topology into. So we're going to host our central management store on this same server because again we've only got the one server. And this wizard is now going to go and do all of this stuff set up for us. Okay, finished. We've got a few errors here. Let's have a look in the logs and see what actually went wrong. Error accessing the share. Let's make this manually ourselves, so we're going to call it Lync_share, and we're going to set our permissions to be everyone full for now. If we go back and republish our topology, we should see it complete this time. There we go, finished. Okay, now what we're going to do is bring in our 2007 topology, but you can see it's telling us here that we've got another component we need to install, this OCS WMI backwards compatibility. So if we go look on our CD, we should be able to find it on here. If we look in Setup, AMD, Setup, and then we've got OCS WMI backwards compatibility. This just lets it talk backwards to the OCS 2007 and 2007 R2 servers because they use the WMI interface. So if we come back in here, there we go. We've now got import our OCS topology. So next, we don't have any Edge servers. What are we going to use to communicate with all our 2007? We're just going to leave this as the default. and let that finish. So we can now see we've got a back compat site and we've got our Bibble Lync site. If we have a look in here, we can see our standard edition OCS server. If we have a look in here, we can see this is going to become our standard edition Lync server. So we'll come out of the topology bit. Oh, no, we need to make sure we publish that first. There we go, finish. Now we can come out of the topology builder. If we check our Lync share as well, you can see we've now got all of these folders have been created and permissioned for us. So if we go back to setup, we can now complete the last piece, which is to actually run the bits installer. This is going to actually put the components of Lync on this server. So at the moment, just to recap, we've prepared our AD, we've prepared our central management store, and then we've created our topology. So now we actually need to deploy the Lync bits. So click on this and run it. And we're just going to do exactly the same as we did for the schema. We'll run through these items from top to bottom. So install our local CSS, retrieve it directory from the central management store. And I'll just pause again because this might take a little while. And we're done. It looks like we've completed without any errors, so that's good. And now we need to set up the actual Lync components. So this is where the server is going to go away, look inside the configuration storage server, see what roles it's meant to have, and then install all the components. So you can see here we're missing a few bits from Windows, some of the Windows roles and features that this server will need. So we'll quit out of setup, quit out of this, and go back into Server Manager. So this time it's roles we want to add. And we're going to install Web Server IIS down here. And then the additional components we're going to need is static content, default document, HTTP errors, ASP.NET, add the bits for that, .NET extensibility, ISAPI extensions, filters, HTTP logging, logging tools, tracing, and then we're going to need client certificate mapping, Windows authentication, request filtering, static content compression, IIS management scripts and tools. And finished without a reboot, thankfully. So if we have a look, we can now see we've got IIS on there. So we go back to where we were in setup. And rerun the last little bit. So we've got past our IIS prereq this time. Incidentally, while that's waiting to run through, I'll show you in computer properties a problem I used to have on an Edge server when I deployed it. In my topology builder, I'd given my Edge server a fully qualified domain name, which was the same as my internal domain. So it was linkEdge.domain.com or domain.local. When you go and run this setup on the machine, it can't find a reference to itself. So what you need to make sure you do is under computer name, come in here and make sure you specify DNS suffix here for the machine, because normally your Edge servers aren't on the domain, so they won't have the FQDN for the domain. So you come in here, pop it in here, and it means it finds it as part of setup. So we've got another prerequisite failed here, WMF 2008 R2. Now this error is actually something that comes up with Windows Server 2008 R2 SP1. It's because one of the files got renamed between RTM of R2 and SP1, but thankfully there's a Microsoft KB. If we just search for it, it's 2522454. And there's a command line tool we'll need to run, reboot the server, and then hopefully everything will finish properly. So if we go away, scroll down here, you can see this is the command that we need to run. So we'll do an elevated command prompt, let that run through, and then reboot the machine. So hopefully we're looking at third time lucky here. Okay, we've got past our WMF pre-reg there, and we're actually doing some installations now. And we're done. Okay, certificates next. We're going to request certificates now. On this domain I've got an internal PKI, and that should be set up to let us do what we need. So we're going to send the request immediately. We're going to choose our PKI server here, and we shouldn't need alternative credentials. No, let's try without. Friendly name, this is going to be our Lync cert. Item is exportable. Just complete all the details. It's filled in the subject alternate names for us. So we've got dial-in, we've got meet, and we want to make sure we've got a SIP subject alternative name for our SIP domain. I'm going to put linkadmin.biblenet.com in here as well, and that should be all we need. Okay, we've got our certificate, and we're going to assign this now. If we view it, you can see here, it's signed by the CA, and under details we've got our subject name, then we've got our subject alternative names, which are the ones we specified in the wizard there. Click on Finish. We're going to start the Assign wizard, go through here, and we don't really have anything to need to choose. We've got one thing we can assign it to and one certificate. So we're done. If we look down here, we can see we've assigned everything that needs a certificate. Click on Close, and now we're going to start the Lync services up. While that's running through, I'm just going to open the topology builder again, because I want to make my little change to say that we're going to be using Lync admin for our URL to manage the server. Or to manage our OCS environment, I should say, Lync environment, I should say. And in the meantime, that's finished. So we're done in our Lync setup now. We can come back out, get rid of that. So in our topology builder, I'm going to download the topology from the CMS. And just save it as the same file. And then I want to edit the properties for my site. The admin URL is going to be linkadmin.biblenet.com. And just publish that change. Done. Okay, so we just want to go into IIS and double check if we've got a certificate assigned for us or not. So if we expand out the server, and then our site. We've got our link internal and link external. So if we have a look in our bindings, you can see we've got 443 and we're using our link certificate, and same externals running on a slightly different port, but again it's still using our our link certificate, so that's all good. So thanks for hanging around through the video. Hope you found it useful. Drop me a note in the comments and hopefully see you around for part 3. Thank you very much.